All right, today's class in Light and Optical Systems, we're looking at topic 6, which is the source of colors. All right, so looking at this image here, this was Sir Isaac Newton's discovery. So what he did was he placed a prism. This is a prism here. So basically he had this prism, and then he had a thin beam of white light passing through it. And when white light traveled through the prism, he saw bands of color emerge on the other side. All right, so here we have the white light going through the prism and it's emerging as all these bands of color. And he observed that each band of color was refracted at a different angle, and this produced a rainbow effect. So he concluded that the prism was not the source of the colors. The different colors must have been present already in the white light. All right, this prism shape here, it's shaped this way so that light passing through them will bend. And what we see here is that some colors, they bend more than others as they pass through the prism, so that they split apart. So that's what we're seeing here. A beam of white light going into the prism comes out as a spectrum of different colors. All right, so continuing with his discovery, what he did was he took a second prism. Okay, so he reversed the prism, so it's the other way around, and then he passed these colors through this reversed prism. And this time he saw that only white emerged. So what he showed here is that color was a property of visible light, and he proposed that white light, such as sunlight, is the result of mixing together all of these different colors of light. All right, so white light through the prism, we see all of the bands of color, then the reversed prism, and it goes back to white light. Okay, back to white light once again. So the spectrum, this is the series of colored bands that are produced when white light is separated into its component wavelengths. The solar spectrum, this is the pattern of colors in sunlight. So you may have heard of this before, Roy G. Biv. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So when light strikes an object, the light is either going to be reflected off or it might get absorbed. So the light may be reflected off the object, it might be absorbed by the object, or it might just transmit through the object. All right, when white light passes through this blue bottle, the glass is going to absorb all the colors of light except the blue. So only the blue light is reflected or transmitted, and that's the explanation of why this bottle appears blue. All right, so white light is coming in. White light contains all the colors, Roy G. Biv. All of the other colors get absorbed and only the blue light is being reflected or transmitted. That's why we see it as blue. So the color you see when light strikes an opaque object, it depends on which colors are reflected and which ones are absorbed. If the material reflects all the colors, then we are going to see white. If it absorbs all the colors, then we will see black. All right, black absorbs all the colors. So colors that we see, colors are reflected light that we can see. And like I said, an object is black because black objects do not reflect any light. They absorb all the colors. So the primary colors of light, keep in mind this is different from when we're talking about pigment and paints. We're talking about light. So the additive primary colors are red, green, and blue. So red, green, and blue, those are the primary colors of light. And then the secondary colors that are produced are yellow, cyan, and magenta. So here, red and green light produce yellow, blue and green light produce cyan, and red and blue light produce magenta. Okay, so these are the colors produced by the light of two additive primary colors. You may also see them called subtractive colors. But what else we would notice here in the middle is we see the white. So when red, green, and blue light are combined, it produces white light. So how do we see color? So this is what I was talking about, the photoreceptors. So there's, like we had talked about, the retina at the back of the eye. It contains two types of cells that respond to light. There are rods. Rods are kind of shaped like rod-like, whereas the cones are shaped as cones. So the rods are more cylinder-shaped, and they detect the presence of light. The cones, on the other hand, right here and here, those are cone-shaped. They detect color. So there's three types of cones that we have in the human eye, and each type of cone responds to the different color. So the cones in the human eye, they respond mainly to red, green, and blue light. All right, so we'll pause here and watch this video on how we see color. So next we are looking at color blindness here. So color blindness, it's a condition in which people have difficulty distinguishing between some colors. So there's two figures here, A and B. So some people can't detect the difference between green and yellow, so they won't be able to see this 5 in picture A. And other people, they cannot detect the difference between red and green. So maybe they're seeing the 8 here as a 3. Some people that have total color blindness, they cannot see either number in either picture. All right, and here we're just looking at a tomato under different types of light. All right, so in the first figure, figure A here, we're looking at a tomato under white light. So it looks red because the tomato is only reflecting red light. All the other colors are being absorbed by the tomato. And then in B, we're looking at a tomato under red light. So it appears red again because the red light is not being absorbed by the tomato, it's being reflected. And then here we have the tomato under blue light. So the blue light is almost completely absorbed by the tomato and very little light is reflecting back. So therefore, when we look at this tomato under blue light, it looks black with like a hint of blue. All right, we'll just stop here and watch these last two videos.